Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we are going to paint this chickadee for Sketchbook Sunday, and it was a lot of fun. It took me about 25 minutes. So I'm going to start off using a new product to me. This is the Hoo Hoo brush pen, and I'm not using the ink that comes with it because I couldn't get the cartridges to fit, but it did come with an adapter, so I filled it up with my fountain-proof safe ink that I always use in my fountain pens, and I will link that below. I don't really know the brand name of it. It's like just called Pen and Ink brand, but I did find it on Amazon after buying mine at a local shop a few years ago, and it's just a really great ink. So I started off just by sketching with this little brush pen, and I've used it a few times, and I have to say I really like it. I haven't used this pen in probably about a week and a half, and I did notice that my lines were a little bit broken, like the ink wasn't flowing that fast, but that was all right for this sketch because I was kind of thinking as I went, and I didn't do a pencil sketch first, so I was all right with the fact that the pen ink was moving a little bit slower. I will show you how to increase the ink in a little bit, and I honestly think that was kind of a mistake to do that in the middle of a sketch, but all in all, I really liked the way the ink handled because I was able to get this really nice mossy texture on the branch there that the chickadee is perched on. But if I went slow, I was able to get a solid enough line for the black cap and the beak and those areas. So the paint that I'm going to use today, notice I didn't stop to heat dry it or anything. I'm just going right in. The paint that I'm using today are my Mission Gold Pure Pigment watercolors, and I just wet the bottom half of the picture, and then I was using a mixture of ultramarine blue and Van Dyke brown, and then I'm adding in some sap green and basically and some yellow ochre, just the colors I normally would use in backgrounds. I like these colors because they tend to granulate well, and on a smooth sketch pad paper like I'm using here, you can really see that granulation because there's not very much texture in the paper. I'm also going ahead with some of that Van Dyke brown and yellow ochre and painting in the branch, and I'm not worried about my colors bleeding here. I am wetting the top area, and I'm just starting in with my pigment at the top, my ultramarine blue, Van Dyke brown, and sap green again. I didn't use any colors straight from the pans. I did kind of soften them on my palette first just to make sure I didn't have anything too bright, because I really just wanted a soft granulated background there for my bird. At this point, I want to dry the background completely because it was really sopping wet, and I want my bird to be in nice sharp focus. So I'm mixing up a light gray to go on the body to kind of tone the feathers, because even the white feathers aren't going to be pure white. I used ultramarine blue and Van Dyke brown again, just really with a lot of water, and made that light gray. I accidentally grabbed some light red, which is a earthy reddish brown color, so I did my best to remove that from the paper, but this being a sketchbook and not true watercolor paper, I did have to kind of go over it with some yellow ochre and some Van Dyke brown in the shadows to get rid of that red, but it looked fine in the end, so that's all right. The brushes I'm using here are the Menta brushes by Royal and Langnickel. They're a very new watercolor brush. They're 100% synthetic, vegan, and they perform really well, like a squirrel brush. They're really absorbent, and this number 8 round I think is a really versatile brush, so if you're looking for one just to try them out, that would be a good one I'd recommend. They're not very expensive either. I think the regular retail price on these are $5, and stores like AC Moore have had them on sale, like 4 for $10 or 3 for $10, so it's really a great buy. So at this point I was thinking, boy, I'd like to use that pen and get some nice dark lines in there, so I decided that I would try to increase the flow in my pen, and what I did was I opened it up and I turned the little kind of apparatus that loads ink, and I was able to get the ink flowing really well, almost a little too well, so I had to work really quickly when I went in with this dark, and it looked all right, but I have to say that I don't think that's the best method. I think a better method to get your ink to flow would be to just maybe dip the tip of your brush into some fresh ink, and I think that would start the capillary action up again. I ended up spreading out some of the ink with some Zen All Media brushes. That little wisp brush I showed you gave me some really nice little kind of feathers on the over the watercolor with the ink. Now I'm going in with a sharp white colored pencil to brighten up some spots and also break up some of those large dark ink areas. And if you would like some real-time instruction on painting birds in watercolor and colored pencil, check out my course Texture Toolbox Feathers and Fowl. I'll have a 20% off coupon code in the video description if you want to check that out. I also like to use cream a lot because it's softer than white, it's warmer, and it gives you a nice fluffy roundness to the birds. There's a little bit of bronze to also warm up and give the belly a little bit more of a golden hue. I keep layering on the warm brown, bronze, and cream until I have built up the texture that I am going for in the feathers of the bird. Remember, nothing is pure black, nothing is pure white, nothing is solid gray. You want to get all of those nuances of colors in the feathers in order to make the bird appear lifelike. Now I'm using this kind of minty seafoam green color to color in the lichen on the branch. I just wanted a really soft look there, and I'm scribbling in some of that brown that we used just to give it a little bit of just texture, and you can also go in and add some of that onto the branch if you like. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to check out the link to my class and also the supplies I used in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.